everyone, welcome to Odds on Sports. I'm Jim Williams, and our buddy Amadeus is on assignment. He'll be back with us tomorrow. We miss him, but we have to trudge on. So there's nothing better in sports than October baseball because that means playoffs and eventually the World Series. So today we have four games, and the American League leads it all off. ABC has the first game, and that's going to be at the Trop in St. Petersburg. Now, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Texas Rangers are going to be battling it out in the best of two series. They had, it's best 2 out of 3. And right now, it's going to be an interesting situation because Tampa Bay comes into this game pretty much winning they won their last series, which was in Toronto on the road. The Rangers, on the other hand, dropped 3 out of 4 to the Mariners on the road to close the regular season. And it cost them not only playoff seeding, it cost them the number 1 seed in the American League because that went to the Astros, who they lost in a tiebreaker to. So, at the end of the day, it wasn't a very good final weekend for the Rangers. Meanwhile, the Rays, finished the season with a win. So we'll see how that factors into it. The Rangers have yet to really name a starting pitcher, but it's likely to be Jordan Montgomery. He'd be coming on normal rest and should get the call this afternoon. Now, he's made 32 starts here in the regular season, 21 of them with the Cardinals, 11 with the Rangers, posting a 10-11 record with a 3.20 ERA and a 1.93 WHIP. He's had 48 walks, 166 strikeouts, over 188.2 innings of work. Now, Montgomery didn't factor in the decision in his last start, which came on Thursday against the Mariners on the road. Now, he threw 6 innings in that game, allowing 1 run, 5 hits, 2 walks. He had 5 strikeouts. The Rangers, however, lost that game 3-2 in walk-off fashion. In his last 3 starts, though, Montgomery is 1-0 with a 0.90 ERA and a 0.95 WHIP. So he walked 4, he struck out 19 over his last 20 innings of work, and that certainly makes him someone who at least is coming into the playoffs pretty formidable. Now, let's talk about the Rays, and they kind of, at the Trop, it's a tough place to play. It is absolutely a horror place for players from out of the area, largely because of the roof. The roof is kind of opaque. It's hard to catch the ball, when you're tracking the ball. See it in the roof. There's also girders up there, and we've seen it where people have hit the girder and the lighting fixtures and all the stuff that's up there. And there's actually, depending upon the rings, you hit the C ring, you get a home run. You hit, any other ring, and the ball could drop down, and it's like it's either an out or it's a ground rule double. So it's very difficult to play there. Also, part of the problem at playing at the Trop is that the field itself is very hard, very fast, and it really does, make the ball get to you really quick and can be a bit of a problem. Outfielders don't like it because they take quite a pounding on that outfield. So when they're running, they can feel every step as if they're running on concrete. So there is a reason why the Rays were 30-6. That's right, 30-6 at home, in the first part of the season. So it's been, a tough place to play for anybody who comes in, this year especially. Now, Tampa Bay won 4 of its final 5 games in the regular seasons. They beat the Blue Jays in the regular season finale on Sunday, which I mentioned earlier. Now, Tampa Bay got 3 hits from Ramiel Topas, and he got his first home run, and Johan Aranda. Now, these guys have basically, along with Junior Camarero, are young kids who are just literally filling in because the Rays have had a ton of injuries, but they've seemed to have weathered the storm with these young players. Tyler Glasnow has started in this season as probably one of their best pitchers. He's one of the best pitchers in the American League. He made 21 regular season starts for the Rays this year. He's 10-7. That's not really. It's a bit deceptive because he's got a 3.53 ERA, a 1.083 WHIP. He's got 37 walks to 162 strikeouts over 120 innings of work. Glasnow earned a win in his last start, which came Wednesday on the road against the Red Sox. Now, he's thrown 5 scoreless innings, allowing 1 hit, 1 walk, and 9 strikeouts in that 5-1 victory over the Sox in Boston. Glasnow is 1-2 with a 6.28 ERA, a 1.40 WHIP, and 7 walks and 20 strikeouts over the last 14 innings of work. Glasnow has made his 4th career start against the Rangers. He's getting ready for that in this contest. He's 3-0 against Texas. He's got a 0.46 ERA, a 0.559 WHIP, and 6 walks and 26 strikeouts over 19 and 2/3 innings of work against them. Now, Glasnow's 11-7 overall with a 3.13 ERA. He's got a 0.993 WHIP. He's got 51 walks against 259 strikeouts over 178.1 innings of work. In his 32 career starts at Tropicana Field, he marks his 10th career postseason start. He's 2-5 with a 5.75 ERA, 1.402 WHIP. He's got 20 walks to 53 strikeouts over 40 innings of work in those outings. So, these are some of the things we've got to factor into it. So, these are the 2 top offensive teams in the American League. So, it's the potential for a big offensive game here. Montgomery hasn't pitched much in the postseason, and that's a problem. Glasnow has been toughened up in his playoff action during his career. He's got the experience. The Rays have the experience. They're very good at home this season, posting a total 53-28 mark at the Trop, while the Rangers are underwater on the road. They are just 40 wins and 41 losses on the road this year. We saw the Rays take 2 out of 3 of them against them when they met earlier this season at the Trop, and they should be good enough to push their way through onto the division round. We'll see how that goes, because we have more games after this one. But right now, we'd have to say today, with Glasnow on the hill, it's going to be an interesting game and should favor the Rays at home. So no surprise there. The Rays should be favored today at home at the Trop in what will be a lot of fun. It's the Rays and the Rangers at the Trop. And let's see what we got going on here. And Jerry's with us. Jerry, good afternoon. How are you, sir? Playoff baseball this afternoon. I'll shut up and listen. No, you don't have to shut up and listen. Who do you like? I mean, there's some really good afternoon ball games and some tonight. The American League takes the center stage today during the daytime, but tonight, it's going to be fun with seeing how the Mariners, the Marlins, not the Mariners. The Marlins do against a very good Philadelphia team. And then, of course, Milwaukee, plays host to the Diamondbacks. So we've got a lot of fun stuff coming on. So go ahead, Jerry. Let us know what you think, okay? Now, there's some noise coming from somewhere. Let's make sure I see where it is. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. Pop to a website and something pops up. All right. So here's where we're going. We're going to go. We got the Rangers, and now it's time to take the Blue Jays and the Twins. All right. So now, Toronto, Minnesota are going to get together. This first pitch is going to come a little bit later, 4:38 Eastern Time. Toronto finished the season at 89-73. Not a bad result. But this was a Toronto team that everybody thought was going to be the team to beat in the American League East. It didn't turn out that way. The Blue Jays are making their second consecutive trip to the playoffs for the first time since they did it in 2015-2016. Okay, They haven't won a World Series since 1993. They entered the postseason play with really a solid upside. There's no question about that. Now, Toronto can score runs. They've scored an average of 4.60 runs per, which puts them, per game, which puts them at 15th overall. They hit 256, which puts them 8th overall with a 746 OPS. That's 11th best in the American League. Now, the pitching has not been as good. Their pitching, the Jays have had a little tough. They have a staff ERA of 3.79 ERA, which is 4th best in the league. The whip is 1.25. That's 10th best in the league. And they've only had 70 quality starts, which makes them 7th in the American League. Now, Kevin Gausman is expected to take the hill today. He has held the Yankees scoreless in 7 innings in his last appearance. He's 11 years into the, he's an 11-year pro. Let's try to get that out of my mouth. 7-5 this year with a 3.27 ERA. He's got a 1.20 WHIP in 15 road outings this season. He's done well. He's faced the Twins twice this season. In the first start, he earned a win, holding them to 1 run, and that was not a bad result back in May of 26. He was knocked around, though, in his second start, surrendering 6 runs on 7 hits and only 4 2/3 innings. That was back in June. So tough times. Minnesota, on the other hand, has been really an enigma. They have been bizarre. The Twins are, even though they're a well-balanced team, and they could push forward in this postseason. They won the AL Central, which isn't saying much because that's been, most of the teams in that division were under 500 for the largest part of the season. So, the fact that they got through doesn't say a whole lot. But take this, the Twins do have talent on that roster. They average 4.8 runs, which is 10th in the American League. They hit 243, which is 21st. That's not that great. OPS is 753, which is 7th best in the league. They hit 233 home runs, which is 4th best in the league. They stole 86 bases, which is 24th in the league. The Twins pitching staff compiled an ERA of 3.87, while the whiff was 1.20, and they had a league-leading 76 quality starts. So as you can tell, the Twinkies are a team that definitely, they're not going to, this is one of those games where the Twins want to keep it low scoring. The Blue Jays, on the other hand, don't. So it's going to be who else really gets good pitching in this deal. It really does look like it's going to be boiled down to the pitching aspect of it. These two teams last met in May and June when the season was still fresh, and both of them were hurt and banged up. The Twins lineup was at full strength at that time. While Minnesota has home field advantage on today, it will take the field without Byron Buxton, Gary Gallo, Carlos Correa, and Jeff Lewis likely not to play. So, or if they do play, they're certainly not going to be at 100% health. Look, this is Toronto's series to lose. Okay, they just are the most talented team between these two teams, and the fact that they're playing in a stadium that is an outdoor field, it's going to be windy and a bit chilly this afternoon, but that shouldn't affect the Blue Jays. And I don't know. I think the Jays, can get by here. I do think that it's going to be an interesting battle of different styles. You're going to have Minnesota, who likes to manufacture runs and play small ball, where you have the the wall bangers with guys with Toronto. So we talked about Tampa Bay edging out the Texans in the first series. It's probably going to be the Jays in this series and finding a way to get by. So that is where we are on that situation. Very soon, let's move over to the National League. So, all right, here we go to the National League. And this afternoon, in the National League, the first game is going to be Arizona Diamondbacks and Milwaukee Brewers. Now that game will get underway at about 7 p.m. and that's going to be on ESPN2. Okay. Now the Diamondbacks are 84 and 78 this year. You've got Pardoff is going to start game one. Now the Diamondbacks have used Brandon Pardoff on the mound in every key game that they've had this year, and he's done well for them. Now he's one of the Diamondbacks' top pitchers, and he started off the season as the top pitching prospect in the minor leagues. They promoted him pretty quickly. The rookie posted a 5-2 scoreless innings against the White Sox in his last outing, and which was a 3-0 win. Now, he did not post strong numbers. He had a 5.72 ERA with a 1.41 WHIP, and accompanied by, a 3-9 record in 96 innings of play. Now, it didn't sound great, but here's the thing: he's kept the Diamondbacks in games. They've been able to overcome any problems he's had and score runs. So he's one of those pitchers where the team seems to score runs when he pitches, which is not a bad situation. There are other situations where pitchers, hard luck because they may only only give up 1 or 2 runs, but the team doesn't score well for them. Well, this year he's had that. So we'll see how that works out for the Diamondbacks. Now, when we start talking about, the Brew Crew, well, they're going to send Corbin Burns to the mound. Now, he last pitched on September 28th, where he posted 4 scoreless innings against the Cardinals. Now, the veteran right-hander is enjoying, a pretty good season. He's had a 2.51 ERA in September, and he's also sported a 3.5 ERA, overall. Now, he's got a 1.07 WHIP to complement a 10-8 record in 193.2 innings of work on the season. So he's been a rubber arm for them. Now, Burns has conceded 7 runs in 13 innings against Arizona this season. So that's something he's going to have to pay attention to, no doubt about it. And a 2-1 record career-wise against the Diamondbacks. Milwaukee's Brew Crew is back in the postseason again. Now, they've had a streak of 4 straight postseason appearances and last year, but they rebounded by winning the NL Central by 9 games over the Cubs, and due mainly to their pitching. The pitching has been excellent all season long. They've gotten a number of key wins that come from behind type style, which seems to be their MO. They really became dominant at home, and they registered a 49-32 record. So Milwaukee has been tough at the stadium there, Miller Park in Milwaukee. So we'll see. The Brew Crew have won 8 straight home series, so they're going to be a tough out. And the Diamondbacks definitely are in for a tough series. I would think. Let's see. The key here to me is Christian Yelich. If Christian Yelich can get back on track, which he seems to be, that's going to be a very big help for the Brew Crew. This one might be as close to an even series as we have on the board, Milwaukee and Arizona. So that one gets underway tonight, ESPN2 at 7 o'clock. And so we move on to the last game of the day, and it might be the most enjoyable.
Luxurious SUV in its class and America's best midsize pickup. Jeep, the most awarded SUV brand. Get great
little bit of
now
promotion for Jeep.
Adventure Days event.
Thank you for that. All right, so here's the deal. This one gets underway on ESPN at 8:08 p.m. tonight. That's when the first pitch is coming off. Now, Major League Baseball kicks off the wild card round. The Marlins, are the feel-good story, right? They were the team that wasn't supposed to be here yet. Well, they're here, and they're taking on a Philadelphia team that was in the World Series last year. Now, the Phillies finished the season at 92-70, clinched the number 1 wild card spot, while the Marlins finished at 84-78, and won the tiebreaker over the Diamondbacks to earn the last wild card seed. Now, a pitching matchup for Game 1 in this best-of-3 series will have Jesus Luzardo. He's a 10-9 pitcher with a 3.63 ERA for Miami. The Phillies are going to go with their righty and someone who really has a lot of postseason experience, Zach Wheeler. He's 13-6 with a 3.61 ERA, and his ability to pitch in postseason is probably the reason he's got the start. Now, let's start with Miami. Okay, they're fishing for a title. The Miami Marlins are in the playoffs now for just the 4th time in team history. The first 2 times resulted in World Series titles for the Marlins. It's a young lineup, which is led by a talented but unheralded pitching staff. The Marlins march into the playoffs thanks to strong closing finish. They did have last couple weeks of the season they were hot. They finished the month of September at 18-9 to earn the playoff spot under their first-year manager Skip Shoemaker. Now, Shoemaker is coming from a team that lost 93 games last year, and it's not been fun. We've been living for 6 years with Let's Go Mets in our stadium. Marlins owner Bruce Sherman said, the Mets didn't finish, the Yankees didn't finish, San Diego didn't finish, the payroll 3 times ours, and look what we did. So Bruce Sherman is pretty happy that his Marlins have made it to the promised land for a postseason, and he should be. I mean, as I said before, they're young, they're speedy, they've got a very good outfield. Basically, Jazz Crisholm Jr. is playing left field. Byron Dela Cruz is the left fielder, and they've got some really potentially good players out there. One of them is their DH, and that's Jorge Soler. Soler leads the team with 36 home runs. The Marlins have done this in a year. They're kind of like the Baltimore Orioles in so much as everybody knew that they had some really good things coming, but nobody expected them to get here that fast. So the Marlins kind of snuck up on a lot of people, and in a season when Washington was down and the Mets were down, the Marlins were able to take advantage of that and do quite well for themselves. So, they're going to hand the ball today to lefty Jesus Luzardo. He's, he is someone who is, as I said before, 10-9 in 32 starts, including a team-leading 17 quality starts. Now, he's allowed 165 hits in 172.8 innings. This year, he's got an ERA of 3.63. Luzardo's strikeouts per 9 inning rate is a solid 10.5, and his whiff stands at 1.22. On the other hand, he has had problems on the road. He's a 500 pitcher on the road, to be honest. With slightly elevated ERA of 4.48 in 13 starts. He's allowed 77 hits in 70 innings on the road. He struck out 80 batters. He's 2-0, though, against Philadelphia this season with an ERA of just under 4. Down the stretch, he went 1-1 in his last 5 games. So that's what's going on with the Marlins. Meanwhile, in Philly, this is where they thought at the beginning of the season that this Philadelphia team could probably, win the division. Well, that didn't work. The Braves got back there again. But Philly was a strong second. So for the second straight season, the Phillies' road to the World Series is going to have to come through the wild card round. Last year, the Phillies were the final wild card entrant, so they basically just barely made it, as you recall. They beat the St. Louis Cardinals on the road 2-0. They moved to the division round and went all the way to the World Series before the Astros beat them in 6 games. Now, this year the Phillies finished atop the wild card standings. They still didn't, as I said before, beat Atlanta out, but they got to the top of the wild card standings, in large part because they score a lot of runs. They average 8 runs a game, which is the top offense in the National League. They bring back much the same cast of characters from last season, which includes the NLCS MVP Bryce Harper, slugger Kyle Schwarber, and all-star catcher JT Realmuto. Now, this year, they added another member of the former Washington Nationals team, which Harper and Schwarber played with, so they know him quite well. He's shortstop Trey Turner, who had plenty of playoff experience and adds power, speed, and an already potent lineup gets even stronger. Now, last year, the Phillies manager, Rob Thompson, had sort of, shaky situations when it came to the bullpen in the playoffs. That's not the case this time. The Phillies went out and fixed that bullpen. They finished the month of September, in style. But even though they had a strong September, they had some issues toward the end of the season with their starting pitching. So it's not the back end of the bullpen is giving trouble. It's been the Phillies and their starting pitching. But when you have, the bats of guys like Schwarber and Harper and Realmuto and Turner, they can wipe away some of that bad pitching. Look, the Phillies are going to give the ball, as I said before, to Wheeler in Game 1. He has had 32 starts this season. 21 of them have been quality starts, and his ERA of 3 has been good enough. And down the stretch, Wheeler is always a solid big game pitcher. He's gone 3-0 in his last 5 starts, tuning up for the series. And so, this is a matchup of 2 familiar foes. They played each other in the division. They're going to go. The wise thing here in the case is the Marlins haven't been there before. The Phillies went to the World Series last year. The Phillies are playing at home. True that the Marlins probably have a better starting pitching staff, but the bullpen goes to the Phillies. And there's probably no way, not 100%, but probably no way that the Marlins can match the power that the Phillies have from the top of the lineup to the bottom. And so this one favors the Phils. So let's go back. Marlins and Phillies, we look at that. Certainly going to be a fun series. It should belong to Philadelphia. Arizona in that one with Milwaukee. That might be the best series of the bunch because of the balance between the 2 teams. Toronto and Minnesota, got to give Toronto the edge there because they actually had a better record than Minnesota, even despite Minnesota winning the division. Texas and Tampa Bay. Once again, Tampa Bay is in the playoffs for their 5th straight year. They know what to do. They are banged up, though. There's no question about that. They got a lot of young players in the lineup there, so that's going to have to be something they're going to look at, and we'll see. But we should have 4 very good series here, 2 in each league, before we get to the American League series, divisional series, and the National League divisional series this weekend. So we should have some fun baseball today, and no question about it. It should be a lot of if you're a fan of baseball, this is a very good day to sit back and just watch baseball from beginning at 3:00 in the afternoon to probably around 11 o'clock midnight tonight. So there you go. Let's take a few questions here before we head out of town here for the day. Let's go and all right. So we did mention today that Peacock is going to be the exclusive home of more than 30 Big Ten men's basketball games this season, with every Big Ten school making at least 1 appearance. Indiana, Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Purdue, and Wisconsin will each make 5 appearances. Now, there are some of you who have said that you were a little, upset that Peacock was getting this, that all of the Big Ten sports was going. Basketball was going to Peacock. That's not the case. Okay, NBC has some games, CBS has some games, and so does Fox. Okay, so it's not like they all go there. So they're going to be split up, much like the football is split up, where Peacock has a package, and so does Fox, so does NBC, so does Fox. So don't don't get too upset Peacock has all the games. They don't have them all. They have, you know, they do have the biggest chunk. I will say that much. But if you're a fan of, of Big Ten basketball, it's certainly going to be easy to find the games, and that'll be a good situation for you. But they don't have all of them, so those who are concerned need not be, because they don't have them all. They have a large package of them, but they don't have all of them. So there you go. That's not a bad thing. Alrighty, let's see. We'll take a few other questions before we get out of town here. And let's see what we have here. All right. Let's see. Yeah, a little, flashback from this morning. Some people are saying that they like the idea that NBC Sports is going to join Fox, ESPN, Apple TV, and Prime Video in the battle for the expanded college football playoffs in 2026. As we said earlier, those who are concerned about the college football playoffs going totally pay-per-view, that's not going to happen this cycle, no question about it. They're not going to go that route. What they are going to do is they're going to give serious consideration to the streamers for the early games, and then probably CNBC, Fox, and ESPN and ABC battling it out for the over-the-air broadcasts of certainly the championship game and probably the Final Four. So don't panic yet, folks. There's no reason to do that. There's going to be streamers involved. There already is streaming involved in college sports and in the playoffs, so I wouldn't be too concerned about it at this point. Caden's dad said that I don't know about that. I think that some Big Ten to go hybrid cable streaming and attempt to make that work. What do you think? I think it'd be fine. I think that makes a lot of sense. That the Big Ten network should be on on cable and be available through streaming as well, so that way, no matter where you are or how you want to get it, you can definitely get it. So Caden's dad, I think that's a good idea. So let's see what we got here. Sticky Sports says he's going to bet on Amazon getting the chunk of the CFP playoff games. If it's Apple, then they'll want the entire thing. Well, no, actually, they can't do that because they wouldn't get it. So I do agree that Amazon's a favorite, but I wouldn't rule Apple out by any stretch of imagination. And let's see if we got one more or two more we can take. Mark, okay. What do we got? Melvin, okay, Melvin. Likes the idea that that F1 could go to Apple TV. Thinks it makes a lot of sense to have all the races at one place on one channel, and no matter where you are in the world, you know where to find. That's Melvin, I can't argue with that. That makes a lot of sense. And linear still matters, and that's key. Well, linear does matter. Don't know how much of a key it is, but yeah, it's going to be a factor in the CFP. So yeah. And let's see if you can find anything else. Alice, what's going on today? What do you got for me, Alice? All right. Her Trailblazers are on Fubo TV, which doesn't have the Pac-12 network for OU football. P12 is on YouTube TV, which doesn't have the Blazers, or MLS. MLS is on Apple TV, which doesn't have Illini basketball, which is on Peacock. This is driving me crazy. All of my teams are on different networks. You know what, Alice? That I can see what that I feel for you. You're absolutely right. That is a bit of a mismatch, right? I mean, maybe soon enough we can find out a way where this all could be under one roof. That would be the way to go, right? What do you got for me, John? I think that TV companies with streaming channels need to pump the brakes. No need to get excited to have to pay more for tiny bills from still equal bill of a cable. If you add them all up, it's a hassle to switch to and from. I'm not sold on streaming yet, but it could be the future. Okay, fair enough. Everybody should consume it in whatever way is best and easiest and cost efficient for you. Dr. Ship's burner phone. I love that. That's really a very clever Twitter handle. Why is it a surprise to big 12 and 10 fans about Peacock? They think they got paid because their product is so good? What, are you kidding me? Throwing a little shade there at the Big Ten. Save the pack. If only we could. We told that we were just recently told that NBC is one of 5 networks that are part of the preliminary talks, first round of the 24 tournament home games. It's not 24 tournament home games, but okay, I get what you're saying. So it's not a surprise to you, me, that Fox, ESPN, NBC, CBS, and who else might be involved? Probably Apple and Amazon. I can see everybody figuring something out for their benefit. Okay. And let's see. Anything else, boys and girls? Just everybody is a lot of people liking the Peacock deal, getting banging home all of those in Big Ten games. So good. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. That's a good thing. All right, boys and girls, it's been fun. Jerry, thanks for coming by. Really appreciate it. Always good to see you, my friend. And feel free to ask questions. Everybody else does. So you, sir, have a wonderful day. Everybody have a great day. It's been fun. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., okay? Until then, take care.